Kenny.
Val's lad.
He messaged me before because obviously Kenny looks after Twitter and Instagram.
The socials, mate.
Socials. He said someone's reached out to us on Instagram, shall we say, as a brand ambassador for a company that sells sunglasses, and they've said, "Oh, we love your feed," which straight away makes me think it's just a standard email. But she said, "I love
Copy
your
paste.
feed." Yeah, she said, "My name is so and so. I love your feed. I'd love to give you some free sunglasses." So he told me what make it is, and I went online. I was like, the photographs of the people on there are really good looking people. And I'm like, you really want...
They want us to advertise their sunglasses.
They're like, all the pages are just like models.
Kenny could do it, though.
Models wearing sunglasses, and then you and me.
The old guys from the Muppets, yeah. Brilliant.
It was just, I was like, yeah, we'll get back to them.
Fair enough.
The messages in the post, shall we say.
We'll wait for the next offer, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what would you sell out to?
What would it sell out to?
Yeah.
Oh, pretty much a lot. Cereal.
So yeah, cereal would be good one.
Crisps.
Yeah, crisps. And popcorn would be a good one.
Not in the movies, though. We've had this conversation.
Hello and welcome to Watch It If You Can. My name is Liam.
My name's Dave.
This podcast is all about box sets we've created of our favourite films and TV shows. Some you've seen, some you won't, and others you may never want to watch. However, we can say, if you've never seen 24, damn it! All we want to do is chat on about these films and TV shows we love so dearly, and maybe, just maybe, you should watch it if you can. Dave.
Liam.
Evening.
You alright?
I'm alright. I was just thinking, last episode we were here, it was snowing outside, wasn't it?
It was miserable, yeah.
Yeah, and now it's like a lovely sunny evening.
I could have wore shorts walking in.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't. No, actually I did have my shorts on the other day. I did. I was like...
And your sunglasses.
Did he do prescription sunglasses?
We can only ask, can't we?
How are you anyway?
I'm alright, yeah, I'm good.
Right, funny, I'm taking my glasses off now because I can't read in my glasses, as in close up. This is a problem as you get older. I need my glasses for distance, but when I'm at something close up, I'm like...
I've got mine because I'm reading my notes off my phone. So
you
took yours off and I put mine on.
It's like two ships passing in an old people's home. Right, okay, so let's dive straight in. It is episode 3 of Boxset 2. And Dave, what is the choice?
So I've gone animation this week. I've gone with The Iron Giant.
Oh, it's actually our first animation, isn't it? Paddington 2 had animation.
It's not an animated movie.
That's what I mean, but it's the first animated film we've had so far,
it's the first full-on animated film. It's 1999 animated sci-fi fiction film. Sci-fi fiction film, that makes no sense. A science fiction film. It's directed by Brad Bird. It was his directorial debut. We'll talk about Brad Bird as we go along, but it's based on a 1968 novel, The Iron Man, by Ted Hughes. And it was set in 1957, which is 2 years before Stand By Me.
I literally wrote one of the things of the 50s vibe again, and then I put notes Stand By Me.
So when we do our list, I do 5, Liam does 5. It's purely kind of random, we just mix them up.
Yeah.
So we did Frasier first, which stars John Mahoney.
Yes.
Then we did Stand By Me, which is set in the 50s. Now we're doing The Iron Giant, set in the 50s, starring John Mahoney.
It's like, it is.
We didn't plan it.
No.
So it is, it's set during the Cold War, and basically a big object crashes from space in the ocean. It's just off Maine, it ends up in this small town, Rockwell, where this 9-year-old called Hogarth Hughes basically finds a 50-foot tall alien robot. What I didn't know was in the 80s, Pete Townsend from The Who.
I did. That was one of the things I thought. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that would have been interesting.
Yeah, so he made the book into like a concept album. It came out, it was called Iron Man, a Musical in 1989. And then in 1994, it was made into an actual musical that you could go see.
Oh, that would be interesting. I'll have to see if we can find any would it be footage on YouTube of that? If it was... Like,
oh, probably not.
Like some really like poor camcorder footage.
Yeah, we need to find someone who's got a VHS of it or something.
Okay then. So, why is it your choice?
I wanted an animated movie. I mean, I love cartoons and always have. Watched them obviously as a kid. Watched them with my kids. Still watch them as an adult. I know I'll always watch them. I don't like the idea that you grow out of cartoon movies. You know, people stop watching them as an adult. I don't understand it. To me, a good movie is a good movie, isn't it? And this is a good movie. You know, it's only an hour 26 minutes long according to Google. That's perfect for a kids' film.
It's great time, isn't it?
Especially if you go in the cinema, because if you're taking kids to the cinema, getting them to sit through a long film. So it's perfect. Again, another reason to put it on the list is the backstory behind it. So the Iron Man was written by Ted Hughes. He was a poet in 1968. He wrote the novel for his children to comfort them after their mother committed suicide, Sylvia Plath. You know a little bit about more than me.
Yeah, I loved the book as a kid. It was one of my favorite. It was one of the few books I do remember going back and reading a few times. It was one of... Remember when we were in junior school, they used to give you... We did read it in junior school. I remember we used to do class read where the teacher... It was one of the books. I vividly remember it because it was in Mrs. West's class. It would have been third year juniors.
I had to pull that.
Yeah, Miss West. But I do remember... I loved it that much. I bought it from... Remember, they used to send the magazines with the books, and you used to order books, and they'd come a few weeks later. And I ordered it. I ordered it from this.
Is that one of the ones you had?
Yeah.
I wonder where that is now then.
Don't know. I adored the book, and it wasn't until doing the research for this, it was Ted Hughes who wrote it. And I'm not a big lover of poetry, but I do know Ted Hughes, who the poet laureate for from up until very recently. So, which is like an honour bestowed upon someone who's basically really good. I don't know, basically the Queen says, "You're my poet laureate," and he's like, "All right then." But yeah, no, Sylvia Plath, I do know. I went out with a girl years ago who was a massive, don't really want to say fan of Sylvia Plath, but she's really influential in feminist poetry. Apparently she's credited for self-commentary type poetry from it's quite honest and open type poetry. But so she did suffer from mental health problems, so yeah, she did commit suicide. And also when I first moved to London, which would be 2007 I think it was, the flat where we had just off Primrose Hill, literally round the corner was the house where she lived in just before she committed suicide as well. So it was always stuck in my mind about that. So when again researching it popped into I realised it was Ted Hughes. I was I didn't know. It was one of them things as a kid that I loved. So
the backstory to the book, and then Pete Townsend being involved in a musical as well. So that's definitely why it's on the list.
It's weird because I can't remember. Is the book set in Britain now?
I'm not sure because I don't remember reading the book at all.
I see, this is the bit I can't remember, and I can't remember, was it a British, because I know when he released the book in America they did change the name to Iron Giant as well.
Like I say, it's originally Iron Man, isn't it? And it's Iron Giant's the name we all know it as. But I don't remember reading it, but I've obviously seen the film multiple times. But
one of the things I really loved about the film is because I did see the film a long time ago, and it's one of them films I've seen bits over the years now when it's been on TV or something. So actually to sit down and watch it all from start to finish the other night was quite enjoyable. I loved the whole Cold War like backstory, the paranoia, the politics. Again,
the duck and cover video, you know, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Oh my god! And it's again, those themes are still relevant now with everything that's going on. Do you know what I mean? It's still that paranoia, and in fact, it was in 1999 when it was made. It was just before, obviously, 9/11, a couple of years ago. But there was that paranoia has never left American politics.
No, not at all.
So it's a really great film. It's a good choice. So obviously it's animated. So who does the voices in it?
Well, before we do the voices, let's talk a little bit about Brad Bird.
Oh, okay.
Big Brad Bird fan. So the reason that I'm a big fan of his, not only did he work on Batteries Not Included, and
was he the writer?
Yeah, so he wrote the screenplay for Batteries Not Included, and he did 2 episodes of Amazing Stories for Steven Spielberg as well. So big tick already.
Wasn't he Simpsons involved?
Yeah,
Simpsons
so he joined the Simpsons. He was a creative consultant for 8 seasons. And, you know, we love The Simpsons. Probably, I'm going to say
especially
the Simpsons.
I'm guessing it would be the age when it was really good. I'm guessing with the age, at the time he worked on The Simpsons.
Yeah,
because I did notice he directed the Do the Bartman video.
Oh, so really early then,
yeah. So I think he's heavily involved. So especially them couple of them, like I think with Simpsons series 2, 3 to about 11 are just the best years. I wonder how many of them years he was involved in. Yeah,
we'd have to check, because I think probably The Simpsons is probably something we're going to have to talk about at some point, isn't it? If he was there when like Conan O'Brien was there and stuff, they were all like really good episodes. But he obviously then moved to Pixar, and he wrote and directed The Incredibles, 2004, and then Ratatouille. 2007. They both got Academy awards for Best Animated Feature and Best Original Screenplay nominations. And then he did Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol,
which is so random, because it's like, because I remember looking at his filmography and going, it was like, when you're like,
I think they just looked at maybe the action in the Incredibles, and then obviously his writing as well, and thought, can you get them two together on the big screen? What he did do as well was Tomorrowland.
Yes.
With George Clooney. That is a really good film.
I've never seen it.
It's really good, but it's considered a bit of a flop because I think it cost something like 100-odd million and it didn't quite make the money. But it's definitely worth checking out. You know, that's me. As much as love Brad Bird, if I could recommend something, it's Tomorrowland, because everyone's already seen Incredibles. Probably everyone's already seen Ratatouille. Go and check out Tomorrowland. It's definitely worth watching. And
plus, we love George Clooney.
And big Clooney fans, aren't we? I'm going to probably pronounce this wrong because we're great with our pronunciations.
I saw this on the ball. Oh, I'm so glad it's not my choice this week.
Alia Marenfol, do we think it is?
I reckon that's a good shout.
We need to start checking this, don't we?
Eli? Is it Eli?
Could be Eli, yeah. Cut. Eli Marenfol. He's Hogarth. Probably only really known as maybe Stifler's brother in American Pie 2. Yeah, he does a lot of voiceovers, but American Pie 2 he's in. The voice of the Iron Giant himself, Vin Diesel, is also the voice of Groot. Yeah. In Guardians of the Galaxy. Probably known from all the Fast and the Furious movies. We love them as well, don't we?
See, it was amazing. You hadn't watched them till
I hadn't seen them till the lockdown. And I watched them all back to back, and the Hobbs and Shaw.
Because I remember telling you for ages, watch them, because I love the Fast and the Furious.
I've seen the first one when the first one came out.
It was okay.
Yeah.
See, I wrote down here the Fast franchise, when it reboots from 4, 5, and 6. Those 3 films are the best 3 films in the franchise. They are. Just because they have a reboot, don't they? And you sort of mix things around, but they do some amazing stuff from like pulling stories back and forward. Oh, they're just it's pure just.
They're pure cinema movies, aren't they?
I love it.
Fast 10.
I love it. And he is Fast and Furious.
Yeah, he's the man, isn't he, in this? But obviously in Saving Private Ryan as well.
Yeah.
But my recommendation is The Boiler Room.
Oh, I've never seen that.
So that's from 2000. It's got Ben Affleck, Giovanni Ribisi, and it's loosely inspired by Jordan Belfort. No, they did the Martin Scorsese Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, okay.
That's a really good film, and that's a film where, because he'd done a few like Pitch Black and a few action things, you'd be like, is he just an action star? But if you watch that, he's a really good actor as well. Like.
What's it called again?
It's called Boiler Room.
Boiler Room. Okay, I'll dig that one.
Definitely worth checking out. Hogarth's mum, Annie, is played by Jennifer Aniston, who, you know, she's always going to be known as Rachel from Friends. But if you haven't seen them, Horrible Bosses, We're the Millers, you know, go watch her in them.
I'm going to chuck in Office Space.
Oh, Office Space.
Great. Such a good film, and she's fantastic in that as well. Which, again, Office Space is written and directed by Mike Judge, who went and did King of the Hill. Yeah. So, little animation.
Little around. Character Dean is played by Harry Connick Jr. You'll know him for singing. He sold 30 million records. But he was in Independence Day.
He was.
He was in an episode of Cheers.
I saw that as well, yeah.
But my recommendation is Copycat. It's from 1995 with Sigourney Weaver.
See, I got P.S. I Love You. It's the Gerard Butler film, isn't it? I know.
You hate Gerard Butler?
I know, but I quite like. I'm a little sucker on the side for rom-com.
Live a rom-com?
Yeah, he's in that, but he's not.
Right.
He's like a sort of a sidekick.
Yeah, well, he's the bad guy in Copycat. So it's definitely worth checking out.
Because he did quite a lot around the 90s and that, and then he sort of like, did he just sort of get fed up with acting? And
I'm not sure, because he pops up in like Will and Grace and a few other things
he's
as well.
good with Kieran Rowan and Will and Grace, hasn't he?
He's really good in this.
Yeah.
Character Kent Mansley is played by Christopher McDonald, who is Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore. He was in an episode of Cheers.
Yes.
And he's also, my recommendation, he's only in 7 episodes, but Boardwalk Empire.
He's also in The Sopranos as well. I saw it, I was trying to Google earlier before you come. He is in, and I think I was trying to know when Christopher goes to try and make a film. Yeah. He's involved. I think he's involved in that story.
Like a studio producer or something?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I was trying to picture him in Sopranos.
I can't picture him in Sopranos, but I do remember him in Boardwalk Empire.
My shout is Robert Redford film Quiz Show, with a hell of a cast.
I haven't seen that for a long time.
Really good. If you want to dig that one out, I was like, ooh, he has been in everything and all sorts, hasn't he? He's got one of them when you go down his filmography. Christopher McDonald's like, wow. He's like from Knight Rider to like Love Boat and things like that. He's
like Cheers.
Yeah, he's done everything.
Gemma Bogard is played by John Mahoney, who we spoke about 2 episodes ago. You know, he's Martin in Frasier's dad. Also in an episode of Cheers.
Yes.
Another one. But my recommendation for John Mahoney that we didn't do last time is, and this is another loop, 8 Men Out from 1988 with John Cusack from Stand By Me.
See? Oh, it's all coming together. All right, then. So they're the voice actors in it. What about character? What's your favourite character in it?
I've gone with Dean. I know this isn't the character that was in the book and he's been added in, but Harry Connick Jr. is so good in this. Yeah. But there's even scenes where he's not. I think it's the scenes. This is going to sound bad now because I've just said how good he is. The scenes where he's not speaking on screen, the character's so good. So there's the scene where the squirrel's in his pants.
Yeah.
And he's in the diner, and you know he sort of says to everyone he apologises and opens his pants. That's really funny. And also when the Iron Giant copies Hogarth doing the cannonball. And he's just sitting there with the newspaper, and he looks up and there's a big tidal wave, so he just lifts the newspaper. Yeah. I think he says something like "no more fun today" or something. Yeah. I just think he's a really good character.
See, we mentioned it before, but I'd pick Dean as my favourite character as well, and also just because he's a beatnik, so he's just so damn cool for a start. He rides a motorbike. He's an artist. He's got the little beard going on. But also I think he's quite important in the film, in the fact that he's the voice of the new generation, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Which is quite important because Christopher McDonald's character is that like
He's the government official,
yeah,
isn't he?
but he represents that age where they were just like so obsessed with the Russians and they were going to get invaded and blah blah. Whereas the beatniks were the famous like, oh man, it's all it's just so I think
he was an artist, wasn't he?
Yeah. So it was quite, and obviously the 50s and 60s was a massive cultural revolution in America. So I just think he's quite an important character. He's basically the voice of the kids.
Yeah,
in the film.
Yeah, and obviously his relationship with Hogarth's really good in it as well, isn't it? And he takes sort of like they let the Iron Giant stay in his yard and stuff. So I appreciate he's not a character from the book, but in the film.
But if we were doing a podcast about books, then I'd pull you up on that, Dave. But we're doing, but it's about. But you're okay because we're doing a podcast about films,
and he is in the film.
He's in the film. Okay, then. So, what our favourite scene?
Oh, so there's a few. So I've gone with more of a funnier one because I'll end up crying if we talk about the other one. So the whole "you stay, I'll go" scene, is brilliant, isn't it? Or even when they find the deer, after it's been shot. I think that's a really good scene. There's two really good scenes. I think that when Iron Giant first shoots the lasers at the first time. And again, this is why I like Dean. And Dean's telling him to go away. Yeah. And he is just trying to do the right thing. But it's the face on the Iron Giant. He's like, when he realises what he's done. Yeah. And he's, he does leave, doesn't he? And then it's Dean that convinces Hogarth. Well, he doesn't convince him, so he says he'll take him. Them scenes are really good. But my overall favourite scene is probably when Hogarth's having the dinner with his mum and realises the hands in the kitchen. So she says, like, do grace, and he's like going, he's like meant to say, oh my God, and he sees the thing, he's like, oh my God, but then he's like trying to turn it into, he's trying to get the attention of the robot, but trying to say grace at the same time. But it comes back to what we've spoke about on the podcast a few times, that it's the farce element, isn't it? And, he's trying to get the robot out. He tries to distract him by like throwing a coin, which ends up knocking the whole shelf off the wall. Then he opens the door and Ken Thingy's there and he just slams the door in his face.
It's really, because it's really good the way the robot's detached his hand, and it becomes like the character is in the hand then.
Yeah, because the hand's watching the TV at one point, isn't it?
And that's what I thought was really good about it, because even though it's only the hand of it was still the personality of the Iron Giant was still there, which was I don't know like how a miniature version of the. I don't know how they managed to do it.
I just really like that scene. It's like pure kind of almost Spielberg type, what you'd expect. It's like it's funny, isn't it? And then that's my favourite scene. Did you have one? I
picked out a little bit similar scene actually, but the scene where Hogarth and Dean fool the army into thinking it was a sculpture in the barn, and it was just like, stick it in the mouth. It's just really well done, because the build up to it is he's having a stare off with the I keep forgetting the Christopher McDonald's character's name in
Kent.
Ken. They have the stare off. He's like, I'm watching you tonight, Hogarth, and they're both like that in bed. And he eventually goes to sleep, and he gets out. He must have fools him into getting out, and they hide him, don't they, before he gets up there. And I just love the bit where they open up. And as soon as he opened the barn, before you see it, I knew, and I remembered, there's like, he's just like all dressed up as the sculpture.
Yeah, there's all bits around him and stuff, isn't he?
And also the nice little bit just before that where Dean actually, when Hogarth comes back to the scrapyard earlier, and he's got Iron Giant helping him do the big sculpture with like it spinning round or something like that.
Yeah, because he wrecks one first, doesn't he? And then he fixes it, and it's actually better than what it was.
And then he comes back later and he's actually got it, because he's done a big massive sculpture of all the cars twirling round. So he's like, it's a good bit of use.
Well, another scene I did mention, but I do like it when he picks Hogarth up in the car and he's spinning around like it's like a fairground ride. It's just their whole relationship's great as well.
But what about, just because a couple of things I wrote down about it, although it was 1999, and although at the time, we'd already had Toy Story, I think the first Shrek film might have already been out, it's quite classical animated look, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like old style kind of Disney, isn't it? I know there's a bit of a mix of the kind of different styles of animation.
And it was Warner Bros. Animation who did it as well. They obviously have a big history of cartoons back in the day, but they haven't really. They've sort of been left in the shadows a little bit compared to like Disney and Pixar, haven't they?
Yeah, and we'll probably come to that when we talk about kind of the impact, really, I think. But yeah, I like that animation style. I mean, I do like the Pixar style, and I do, all. To be honest, if a film is a good film,
yeah,
I think that's all that kind of matters, doesn't it? And like say, it comes back to the whole adults saying I don't watch cartoons. Well, you're missing out.
Yeah,
all you're doing is depriving yourself of an amazing film
all day long. Well, what about their musical? What about the score in it?
So Michael Kamen apparently composed the film's score. He's not someone I've come across before, I'll be honest, but it was performed by the Czech Philharmonic. So it's absolutely fine. I think there's the music certainly at the end is good. I don't know if you're gripped by it, but I do really, I do enjoy it.
What about what would you change?
So the music.
The music. Okay.
Not against the score. I think the score is absolutely fine. But what I think it is, because we had Stand By Me the other week.
You literally just thought that as soon as you've said it, yeah.
Yeah, you could have had more 50s music.
Yeah.
I think I know the reason. I'm going to tell you in a minute, but I just think it's set in the 50s. You had scenes in a diner. You've got scenes with like Hogarth, kind of. And the Iron Giant playing. I think we had like Everyday Billy Holiday is Billy Holiday, isn't it? Not Billy Holiday.
Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly. We can cut that bit. That's it. Yeah, Buddy Holly. Yeah, Buddy Holly every day. You've obviously got Stand By Me and stuff. So there's big, like, really good. It's a great soundtrack, Stand By Me, and this has got a really good score, but it could have had a really good. Just
lifted it a little bit.
Yeah, and I think what it is Brad Bird said himself, they had 1/3 of the money of a Disney or DreamWorks film and half of the production schedule.
Yeah.
And I was looking at this and no Thunderstruck from AC/DC.
Yeah.
How much do you think it costs to have that?
It's a lot of money to include, because this is why you don't hear many Beatles songs in films. When you think about how big, because it just costs. You've got it's millions, isn't it?
$500,000.
Yeah.
So it's in the Iron Man 2 trailer. It's not even in the Iron Man 2 film. So £500,000 they spent on the music for the trailer. It's in Deadpool 2 as well. It's in Battleship. So I just think they probably just didn't have the money. So it's a bit of a harsh criticism to say they could have had more music in, because it sounds like Brad Bird's hands were tied just getting the film made.
Yeah.
And in the time that they made it as well. So that's one harsh criticism, I think. Nothing you can do about. This one, I don't know if you're going to agree with, but I don't know if you need to see the Iron Giant in Iceland at the end. I wasn't sure if you were going to agree. I think you could just have Hogarth in bed
with the
and
little
the screw starts to light up.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that.
And maybe it cuts to Hogarth's face and it goes off.
Or just literally, when you turn round and when he comes back, turns back on his bed, the box was flipped over on the side and it was gone.
Yeah.
I think that would have been enough for me. I would have...
So again...
Yeah,
you already know, listeners, spoilers on this episode, on all of our episodes. We're talking about the films and kind of in detail. There is a scene, Iron Giant goes up, doesn't he? Gets hit by a nuclear missile.
Well, he doesn't get hit.
He sacrifices himself, doesn't he? Because we haven't even talked about the fact that he puts the Superman logo on at one point. And obviously he's blown to pieces.
I just realised, isn't it like the same storyline as Iron Man in the Avengers?
The sacrifice, yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, so I'm
going to come to that as well.
it just dawned
it just hit you. It hit me when I was watching it as well. So yeah, so basically Iron Giant sacrifices himself, ends up split up. But yeah, there is that scene, isn't he? So essentially, if you haven't seen it, what happens is a part that Hogarth's got a screw starts to light up, and we know previously in the film the Iron Giant can pull himself back together. So we just start seeing all.
Which was the
things.
point of Ted Hughes's when he wrote the book, was for his kids that we can fix ourselves. That was the point. That was the reason he wrote the book.
Yeah.
Of following obviously the suicide of their mum, which again, when that is added to it, it's like,
so sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I just think the scene where you see all the clips and all the bits. And the Iron Giant's head's kind of, I think what maybe might have been more better is just that. Just Hogarth's in bed, as you said, either the box set or I just think Screw just lights up and you see Hogarth's face, and because Hogarth clicks, then doesn't he that he's okay, and that's my not criticism, but I would have slightly changed.
It's a tough one. The only thing I would put down is I just think Annie is so underused in the story, and obviously Jennifer Aniston does a great job with the voice. I feel like she's almost just... I think there was more to her character that I think she was stronger and she could have been involved a little bit more. I just thought she was underused a little bit.
Do you think she could have been the dean?
Yeah, I think so. There could have been a part. She could have took a little bit more of that role in the film and made a few of them choices that resulted in whatever happened. I just feel like she was... Bearing in mind she was a single mum in the 50s, working, bringing up a son... For her to do what she does, she's quite a strong character, and I just thought...
But although thinking about it, maybe that's why she's not in as much, because that was to prove the point that she wasn't always around, was she? Because she was working.
But the whole bit at the end where her and Dean are together, she's just sort of standing there in a few of the later scenes.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I'm like, she's not just the mum, she's actually... really good character. She was quite well written character, and just thought she was a little underused, and obviously fantastic performance by Jennifer Aniston. I think she is underrated as an actress. We all know she's amazing at comedy, but it's a good performance. What about impact or legacy of the film, or that I've not already ruined?
So the disappointing thing is it only grossed 31 million, which had a budget of 50 million, so it was considered a big flop for Warner Brothers, and it sort of, from what I understand reading into it, it was just really bad, poor marketing.
Well, the bit that it seemed to me from what I read was Warner Bros weren't even expecting it to be a hit.
No, because what happened is they'd had a film the year before called Quest for Camelot, which was a big flop, and I think Iron Giant suffered on the back of that. If you think about the way I was thinking about it, was with Solo on the back of Last Jedi. Yeah, I know Last Jedi was bought at $1 billion, but it divided everyone. Solo come out in the May rather than the December after, and there wasn't enough time in between. And I think with this, people had seen that Warner Brothers Quest for Camelot, didn't enjoy it, and then they released another movie the year later. Didn't advertise it very well,
but it test scored really strong. Critically, it was really strong. It was just like kids' film. It's the marketing. It's what we mentioned. The tie-in with the toys, the tie-in with the cereals, the tie-in.
Don't think it had any of that
with your McDonald's, your Burger King, or whatever. That's how it works.
It didn't have, from what I understand, any of that. All them things that you said that you would expect. Well, Pixar have with everything, don't you? You get your Happy Meal and it's plastered all over the side, doesn't it? So maybe Warner Brothers just didn't give it the treatment it deserved. I know it got re-released and done well on VHS and DVD, so it is a bit of a cult classic, and I think most people think of it as one of the best animation films. But I just think, just because something flops on the cinema doesn't mean it's not good.
We've seen it, not even just flops, just because something doesn't make money doesn't mean it's a bad film.
No, and the thing is,
and likewise, something that makes a lot of money doesn't necessarily make it a good film either.
No, it's true. We didn't look at what came out kind of either side of that as well, because obviously, if you're a family of 4 or 5 or whatever, going to the cinema is expensive. So if there's something out the week before, you might not.
This is why studios, they pick their dates really, it's almost like they don't collude with each other, but they look at each other and go, what's so you try to not clash on big weeks, especially with all children, especially with children's family films. They go for the holiday periods, so like the school off, so you're already narrowed down. So you're right, it would be quite interesting to go back and actually see what was around before and after. It would be really interesting to see that.
I think what is important though is Ted Hughes, who we spoke about now, the original story's author. He actually died just before the film was released. But his daughter Frida Hughes did see it, and she loved it. So if I was Brad Bird, that would be enough for me, But I do think the impression it made, I do think Iron Man, the first Iron Man, I think certainly copies the flying scene when Iron Giant's being chased by the planes and he pulls back and shoots right back.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's straight from Iron Giant.
Yes.
And then, like you say, the sacrifice at the end of the Avengers is just pure Iron Giant.
It's literally like as soon as you were talking about it, I was like, oh my god, it's Iron Man and the Avengers.
So it's influenced some of your favourite films without you even realising.
See, I didn't think I'd put that, I'd agree with all that. And I just feel like it's another conversation we've had going back to Warner Bros. Executives, how much movie TV executives just ruin stuff sometimes.
Just don't get involved. Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, you're meant to be experts and you just mess up.
When you think that Brad Bird then went to Pixar, made Ratatouille and Incredibles and Incredibles 2, and I think Incredibles 2 is still currently like the second highest grossing cartoon ever.
And in the meantime, Warner Bros. Animation, I think, have made about 2 films since. Yeah. And I can't remember. I think one of them was a Batman one, so obviously that was.
I just think, interference and not enough push on the marketing.
Definitely, yeah. I think that's why it, not just our podcast, but other podcasts, other film lovers, it's so important to root round and dig out a couple of these little lost gems sometimes. And I wouldn't even say it's not even in a class of a lost gem as such, but it's so important that there is good stuff out there.
Don't read something to flop and think I don't want to see that. See if you've got to go see it for yourself, haven't you?
All day long.
Make your own decision.
It's almost like we've never had this conversation before. Well, like I was thinking about it the other day. It's like when I see an IMDb rating, it does influence me to an element, but I always think anything lower than a 5, I'm a bit but like a 6 is normally rock solid with me.
I just don't look like the whole Rotten Tomatoes thing. I think we did speak about before. I just don't get it. And now you've got people review bombing films because of whatever. There's something in there. But
I find IMDb does seem to align quite
with
more,
what
but
you
I do
watch.
notice like anything that would you say it's a 6 and all that, and in some of them 6s are really big flops and films that people think are actually rubbish, but actually a solid 6 is a good, like I can sit and enjoy a film. It's a 6. What it might not be is that you might go back and rewatch it 2 or 3 times, but for an hour and a half it was boss.
And there's definitely films that people don't like, I like, and vice versa. So you like you say, you can't. Don't look at the box office. Go decide for yourself. And this is definitely one of them. For anyone at the time, if I'd have seen this on the cinema, well, I would have at the time. I would have told people how good it was. I'd have told people to go see it.
I'd love to think 1999. I was the year before I went to university. I think it's probably that period where probably we didn't go to the pictures as much. I don't know why. Like
I had cinema passes then, so I definitely would have seen it. I think. We was born in like the December '99, so we would have seen it. Me and Donna go see all films and cartoons, especially as well.
Yeah.
So, and we definitely would. I definitely had the DVD and watched it again as well with the kids.
See, because I'm trying to think where I watched it. I can't I remember watching it, but I've got recollections of bit part watching it over the years. Now when you've been in somewhere and it's been on, or it's been on BBC or whatever, terrestrial TV, and you sort of half watched it. So it was really enjoyable to sit and watch the whole film again and going. Right, where can you watch The Iron Giant?
So I couldn't find anywhere you could watch it for free.
Boo.
But for less than £4, you can get it on Google, you can get it on Amazon, and you can watch it on YouTube as well.
I'm sure as well you can go to what's that shop that you can go buy second-hand DVDs?
Oh, C Exchange.
Yeah, you better reckon you well get in there for a couple of quid.
If you've still got a DVD player,
it would be, actually. Do people still have DVDs? Must do.
I've got an old laptop, so that's got a DVD drive. I
haven't got a DVD player. I've got no way. If I had a DVD, I wouldn't even be able to play it.
And Kenny wouldn't even know what it was.
Kenny. youngsters. So, mystery box question.
Okay.
Do you want to dip
Yep.
your hand?
I've no idea what this is, by the way.
Pass it over.
There you go.
Okay. Right. The question, Dave, the mystery question this week is add a character from one of our other episodes into the story.
Okay, from any episode?
Of our episodes, yeah.
From any episodes? Oh, that's a really good question. So what have we done? So I'm going to reel a few off. No one from LA Confidential. I'm going to put in.
And do you know what?
I know, I'm going to put in. I've already
LA
decided.
Confidential is the same era as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But I'm putting Moss in from the IT crowd.
Oh my God. What would Moss be? Would he be like...
Moss would work with the government trying to track down the Iron Giant.
But
but he would help out in the end.
Yeah.
So Moss would be the computer nerd.
Yeah, but 1950s didn't have computers.
Okay, he would be the nerd.
But he'd be like, some
you know
sort of
what I mean?
scientist or something like that.
He would be...
Do you know where he'd be the one following the army going, well, actually, I've been analysing and I think it could be X, Y, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He'd be the one that sort of convinces them maybe it is an alien. And maybe he's part of maybe he helps them when Dean's trying to explain that if you attack the Iron Giant, he's going to attack you back. Maybe he's the scientist that goes, Dean's right, we need to stop.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
So I'm putting Moss in.
You're putting Moss in.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I have to answer it as well. I don't know.
You can't say Paddington.
I was literally going to say Paddington.
You just want to put Paddington in everything.
I think... Do you know what? Maybe... I'm going to cause uproar here. The crew of Serenity turn up and go, we were looking for him as a job.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah.
And they take him back.
Yeah.
That's a good shout.
Yeah.
I like that, yeah.
Literally.
And another thing as well, just with you saying Serenity, this is another link then, isn't it? Because have you seen Ready Player One?
I couldn't watch it.
It's amazing. So Ready Player One's a Spielberg film. The Iron Giant's in it, and the ship from Serenity.
Oh, there is. So we've already... See, I've got to be honest as well. It reminded me, I've just watched everything...
Everywhere All at Once.
And it was a bit like... It was similar to that. It was just so like... I was like, but I didn't...
No, it didn't resonate with you, no?
No, didn't connect. Either of them. And I thought both them films were similar in the fact it was just like so many things were like... It was like almost like... And it's just a bit like, I don't know. See, whereas... literally the night before I watched A While with Brendan Fraser.
Oh, well, that's one extreme to another.
Like, that stayed with me, so I don't know.
Probably should have watched it in reverse order.
Maybe. So anyway, just finish off. We always say, well, if you liked The Iron Giant, what else would you like? Straight away, I'm going to put out there pretty much anything from Studio Ghibli. Ghibli.
Start again.
Giblets. No, I'm going to leave it in. I'm terrible at pronouncing
We're getting worse, though.
No, it's Studio Ghibli. I like Ghibli. I'm going to set up my own studio.
Lovely Ghibli.
I'm going to... Studio Lovely Ghibli. Studio Ghibli. Straight away, Ponyo, where a little kid befriends something like out of this world, blah, blah. And Howl's Moving Castle is also a bit similar. So they're my two.
I've got a few. One I'm going to sneak in is purely just because it's in one of the episodes in Ted Lasso. They make the team watch Iron Giant, and the beard says just like they're not interested first, but just goes come back in like 70 minutes or something, and they're all crying. So just watch that. Watch that episode of Ted Lasso. I've gone with the bit of a robot theme, so robot / alien / child theme. Flight of the Navigator.
Oh yeah.
One of our like childhood movies. Short Circuit.
Yeah.
I think that's obvious as well.
Yeah.
Bit more modern. Real Steel with Hugh Jackman. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that one yet. No.
That's really good. Sean Levy directed that, who's doing the new Deadpool film with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. But Real Steel's really good. Obviously, WALL-E.
Yeah.
You know, Wall-E's great. Terminator 2.
Oh,
The whole relationship way out, because obviously Arnie's the good guy in that one. I've gone with Bumblebee, the Transformers
which is
spin-off.
by far the best Transformers film by a mile. To be fair, not that hard.
No, it's not a high bar, really, is it? I think Bumblebee is a great film.
Oh,
yeah.
We saw it in that weird room downstairs on them boxes. Do you remember? Yeah.
I love Bumblebee.
Loved it.
Yeah,
loved it.
It's got the same sort of
Definitely.
feel as the Iron Giant as well, hasn't it? Big Hero 6.
Yes.
There's a Big Hero 6 series on Disney at the minute. Like spin-off from the film. If you haven't seen it as well, I really enjoyed it. And again, this relationship between a boy and a robot. The updated version of Lost in Space, that's on Netflix now. I think there's only 3 seasons, but that's a really good series and definitely worth a watch.
In there?
I don't think there's anyone massively famous. I can't remember his name now. There's a British actor who was in... He played a bad guy in one of the Pierce Brosnan Bond films, and his name's totally slipped my mind. But am I making this? But did what's his name? Who was in Friends played Joey? Was he in? That was Lost in Space, a movie. That was a movie. Yeah, which was a flop. Yes, and is a flop that's not worth watching. Okay, so that is a flop. That's a flop. It's got. Gary Oldman's in it. That's what I mean? That's why I asked you about the Netflix one. Yeah, Heather Graham's in it. Matt LeBlanc, Gary Oldman. You think surefire hit? Yeah. Well, it's. But again, it's one of them. You will find things in it that you'll like, but overall, that's not a great film. But the updated Netflix version, the 3 series, is really worth a watch. I picked a film that came out just last year. With David Earl, who was in Ricky Gervais's Afterlife, Brian and Charles. That's right. It was one of the ones you picked in the 2022 review. Wasn't it? I love Brian and Charles. If you haven't seen it or heard of it, listen. It's about a guy who kind of lives on a farm on his own and builds a robot who becomes like his friend. That's really good. Another similar one, Robot and Frank, with Frank Langella. Have you ever seen that? No. That's a really good film. Finch with Tom Hanks, which came out last year, the year before. Either, no. That's again, that's the man and his robot. And then my last 2 then to round off. I've said it before, but Give Tomorrowland a Go. Directed by Brad Bird, starring George Clooney. I think it's a really underrated film. And then lastly, if you love Jennifer Aniston, she is great in 30 Rock. So you should watch 30 Rock. Well played, Dave. Well played. Okay, that was Dave's choice, The Iron Giant. Watch it if you can. Follow us on Instagram at watch_it_podcast or on Twitter at watch_it_pod. Join us for all our previous episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Podbean and Amazon Music.